Hey guys. Come on closer, honey, so you can hear me. It's the first part of July and it's hot as can be out here. We're going to have a heat index of over 100 degrees today. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. We're in Central Virginia and it's already close to 90. So why in the world am I out here cutting firewood? Well, I'll tell you why. That's because this tree was standing about a week ago. It was alive, and if we want to have any hopes of this thing drying out in time for us to burn this winter, which is still 5 or 6 months away, we've got to get started in July, and so do you. Listen, for those of you who burn with firewood, with wood stoves or fireplaces like we do, we use a wood stove. One of the biggest issues, or one of the biggest problems you have in the winter, is that the firewood you're burning isn't properly seasoned. It's not been dried out long enough, because if you buy your firewood, the folks you're buying that stuff from probably didn't even cut the tree down until October. So you need to get out there in the summer. Now I'm going to show you some hints. If you look behind me here, and this is ash. I got this tree for free. I'm going to tell you how I got it. But if you look behind me, what I'm doing is I'm cutting the big logs into big pieces, into big rounds, at about the length that I'm going to want the stove lengths to be once I've chopped them into firewood. Honey, are you getting a good view of this wood back here too? I want to make sure the folks see this. You might be looking at our stacks of firewood here and say, gosh, why do you have all these little short stacks when you could just make one long stack and probably pile more wood there? Well, that's true. But the reason they're like this is because the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. And you want your firewood to be facing east and west, because it dries out through the veins in the wood. This is where the moisture comes out. So if we were to turn our firewood and stack it the other way so we could have longer lines and pile more wood here, it wouldn't dry as efficiently, because the one end that faced north would dry a little bit while the sun was on the height of the horizon, but the south side wouldn't dry at all, and it would actually begin to mold because of the high moisture content. So even though we're starting 5 or 6 months before we need to burn our wood, it still wouldn't dry out efficiently enough. So make sure to stack your wood facing east and west so the sun can dry it out from both ends, on the east side in the morning, on the west side in the afternoon and the evening. You want this stuff to dry for at least 3 months, then it'll split up really easy. Your axe will go through it like a hot knife through butter, and it's going to burn more efficiently in the cold months when you need to burn it to heat your house. So even though it's July, even though it's hot, go out there and start preparing your firewood now. Now, if you live on the East Coast, anywhere east of the Mississippi, I'm going to tell you how you can probably get more firewood for free between now and winter than you could ever imagine. We got this for free. It was an old ash tree. This year we've had massive windstorms, massive rainstorms. The weather's been terrible this year. We have about 6 giant oak trees that were taken down in a windstorm from our neighbors that we're still working on. But this ash tree fell in a recent windstorm in town. And I happened to be in town last week, and there was a tree trimming crew there removing this tree from the resident's yard in which it fell, and I simply said to them, hey, what are you guys going to do with all that wood from that tree you're cutting up there? And they said, well, we're just going to throw it away somewhere. We're going to find a hillside somewhere to throw it over. And I said, you mean you're not going to burn it? And they were like, no, we don't burn wood. And I said, well, I do. Can I have that? I mean, just because you're going to throw it away anyway. My family and I heat our house in the winter with a wood stove. They asked me where I live. I told them we're way out in the country outside of town, and they said, you know, you give us 20 bucks for gas and we'll haul it out there. So I pulled a $20 bill out of my wallet, said done, and when I got home that evening just before dark, this wood was already out here. Now they had it here. I've been cutting it up because it was like 6 and 8 foot log lengths. I've been cutting it up and stacking it. So my point to this story is, folks, if there's been a lot of storms in your area, you've got a lot of wind damaged trees, go out there, take your chainsaw, take your truck, and tell the people that, I mean, I'm seeing these big oak trees in people's yards all over the county. Just say, hey, I see you had a tree blow down in the storm. Sorry for your loss, but I'll cut it up and remove it for you for free if you just let me keep the wood. That way you'll probably get an entire winter worth of free wood. That's how we're doing it. So I hope this helps you. I hope you learned something about firewood. If so, please subscribe to our channel, Homesteading Off the Grid, and we'll see you next time.